Hi guys, welcome to part 4 of Clockwork Abroad, and this is the Banat Museum. So the Banat Museum is an open air museum that you can visit for 450 leu. So that's about the equivalent of just under, so 5 leu is the equivalent of £1. So it's just under £1, which is quite nice. So the museum features houses, traditional houses from Romania, dating way back. So here we start with, what you're going to notice, the houses will get more and more kind of modern. So starting with the thatched roofs, which is very similar to the style you'll see in a lot of kind of more Germanic and early kind of housing, especially in the UK as well. We still have thatched roofs in some parts, which is quite nice. It was raining, so this is the second day, like I told you about. There is still another bit of footage I want to show you after this piece. So I tried to do as much as I could. Some of the inside shots don't look great, and I can't for the life of me find some footage I took on my phone, which is kind of annoying. But it's cool. This museum I found was quite nice, and it's interesting to see how the style starts to change quite quickly. But you'll still see a lot of things, kind of similarities, like the wooden beams. A lot of the houses had their own kind of livestock, and a few of them also had kept doves and birds, which is quite an interesting one. So perhaps, I don't know if that's a traditional meal, maybe a food source even. There's an open museum near me which is similar to this, and of course we've got the big one up in Birmingham, which I should, by the time you guys see this, have visited. So I don't know if I'm about to film anything there though. Again, as you can see, there's wells. Everyone has their own water sources, and also they places where they do washings. These are all farming equipment that they had kind of laid out, so almost like kind of some like kind of ploughs. There was a section of ploughs. There was also a bit on kind of like just for farming tools, guys. But no, the good thing about this place is it is still being used. So there's a church in the middle which is still being used. It's an Orthodox church. We went and they were preparing for a baptism. So they actually thought we were the ones getting baptised, but naturally we weren't. But it is quite cool to see how this place is still being used. If you go at the right time of the year, people will also have like festivals going on. I saw a guy who was living there with chickens, so people still live there. And you can see that the rain is pouring down. So I was struggling. I had the umbrella in my hand, so the footage is very choppy because I was putting it down, trying not to get these houses wet. But you can see it's all very basic, and everybody had their own looms and people were weaving, so you can kind of see how people did things for themselves, and it was a very basic lifestyle. Some of these styles are Hungarian. It's just how amazing that Romania is. It's got all these different influences from all its different borders. Like I said, it borders Ukraine, it borders Hungary, and it's just got some really cool borders going on, and you can see those influences. I think it's Serbia. I'm pretty sure the other one was Serbia that I missed last time. And here, we start to get painting going on, so you can see how they're starting to bump up. They can start thinking about the aesthetic of the building as well. So as obviously things are progressing, we've got paint nowadays, paint in this era. I just found this place really interesting. We were the only visitors at this point because of how much it rained, but it was still very, very nice to see. There is a really nice pub, and it serves really good kind of traditional food just on the outside of this place. If you are looking to get to the museum, you can take tram line number 1. We walked because I didn't really want to risk the trams because I don't speak good Romanian. So we ended up walking about an hour. So it's quite far out of town. I found this snail is massive. I know this is going to be really weird. This is the weird part of the video, but These snails are a lot bigger than what we get in the UK. So Romania has supersized snails. So this was sadly actually cut off at this point. I think it might be the time of the year, but I'm pretty sure during the summer you can go down and sit on the lake. And if you can just see in the corner, there is a wild dog. This dog was chasing us around. Well, he was kind of just following us. Didn't mean there was any harm, but he looked part corgi, which is kind of weird. So he had this kind of almost setter kind of looking dog with tiny weeny feet. And this is the one where it starts to get Hungarian. Pretty sure it's the next house coming up, or maybe even part of this one as well, where they've got this kind of big complex going around. So I also noticed that you'd have a house for a section for like your grandparents. So yeah, going there is fine. They also have an English guide. So if you don't speak Romanian, there is a guide around in English, which is quite nice, and the plaques are in English, so you can read along. Okay, no, it was definitely this one. I think this one must be the Germanic house. And you can kind of see that it's got the veranda. Even my mum said that this is the kind of house that she herself would really like and she'd like live in. So you start to get a bit more kind of modern compared to that first house we saw. So now you've got a bit more luxuries going on. You've got like paint also going on. So I found it really, really fascinating to see, and I wasn't expecting to find this place. But I am really, really glad I did. I found it quite intriguing, and I do like those more interactive kind of visual museums rather than just this is a shelf and this has got loads of artifacts on it. So yeah, I definitely recommend you guys see this place, and also check out the food place I told you about. I had schinken and it was fantastic. Definitely just recommend if you want something to do which is a bit more outdoorsy, and if it's in the summer as well, go visit this place. If you want to find the Banat Museum, which is separate, it is in the Bastion, which I missed. So I hope to see you guys again in another video. And as you can see, it's going to be the Museum of Consumer Goods. See you in another video.